Well, another month has passed and it is time to look into the details of my goals report and my budget report for the month of February, how that has passed, and just check in. The whole idea for this format was inspired by other people doing goals reports and budget reports and those kind of things on a monthly basis. And I've done these things for a couple of years now in private for myself pretty regularly, not necessarily perfect. And now this year, with the beginning of 2020, I actually started the series of doing these public goals reports, goal setting reports, and similar things. And to kind of give you just a couple of glimpses into this journey and also to document it all for myself. But of course, one of the main benefits for myself in this documentation is that I actually get to have time and spend time checking in with my goals and seeing where am I progressing, where am I slowing down, where am I stagnating, and those kind of things. Overall, I have gone through the different goals for this month and have made kind of like my notes for this video that I'm going to talk about with you here now. And generally speaking, I would say I'm pretty happy with the months in general. However, it is of course still not perfect, and I definitely have room of improvement in all kinds of different areas. But to get into these details, let's jump right into the goals report and jump into the first goal, which is I will meditate at least 3 times per week throughout the year of 2020. And looking at my results from this month, I actually just meditated about 6 times throughout the whole month, which comes down to almost just once per week. Really not that great. However, I still have the kind of like walking that I mentioned in the last goals report, that I spend a lot of time walking from my own place to the place of my partner and also to my mom, and so those kind of things. So the walking part is still a very important one. And I also still don't necessarily listen to a lot of podcasts or videos when I'm on the go. So I actually spend time with that walking meditation. However, I don't call those, or I don't count them as meditations on that list. So I have a way to go to increase my number of meditations, but I find a general theme which I want to check in with you at the end or to the middle of this goals report, what I kind of think is going on and how things are progressing or not progressing, and which areas may be progressing faster than others. But I'm again talking about that a little later. Then we have the second goal on that list, which is do yoga or work out at least 3 times per week. And I exercised about 4 times this month, which is just about once per week. And of course, that is not achieving the goal. However, again, this is something that I'm going to check in with you about in a couple of minutes. Along the same lines, we also have the running. I just ran 1 time. There were a couple of smaller hikes throughout the month. However, I just ran about 2 kilometers in a short run that I did. And this is again something that I'm talking about a little further down the line. Overall, running has been a challenge for me in the past years. I invested in running gear and it is getting warmer outside, which makes it a little more enticing, more interesting to go outside and run. However, it is also something that is not that easily incorporated into my daily routine, or at least I feel that struggle. And again, this is something that I'm going to talk about toward the end, kind of like overviewing everything, because I think there's a general theme that is going on here that I want to mention and talk about. Now we are in the area of more business-oriented things and success-driven things. And the first one that I have here is that I'm going to at least publish 104 videos throughout the year. And actually, I published 12 new videos in the month of February, which together with January comes down to 25 published videos this year already. This is holding to my 3 videos per week schedule, which includes the podcast episode and also 2 videos. So I'm currently publishing on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I tend to keep that up, or I want to keep that up in the coming weeks and months, and maybe even increase it at some point if I have the possibility. However, what I learned with this also is that getting into that rhythm is something that is quite powerful, to also have the ability to pre-produce and make multiple videos in one day, which I just recently done with the EOSR videos that I'm currently publishing over the next 2 weeks. And that is an incredibly powerful feeling, because it also opens up and frees up more time again to do other tasks or continue working on videos for the future, and also gradually make those videos better. So that is something that is really exciting. Next, I have the 52 podcast episodes throughout 2020, which I want to be publishing, which means every month it would be 4, but I actually will have to at some point add up a little bit more on that because I already have one missing from the first month of January. So I had 3 episodes in January. Now I have 4 episodes in the month of February. So I'm right around the corner of having that goal pretty much holding strong. I am still processing and working on the idea of having more guests on the podcast. This is something of a personal challenge and a comfort zone issue of sorts, or at least something that I am working toward. I have the list of guests. I have multiple ideas of scheduling those. I have the gear. I have everything in place that I actually need to be able to make this happen. It's just a matter of actually doing it and sending out those invites and also being prepared to create these podcast episodes, which I feel like is one of the harder things, to ask the interesting questions, to come up with the topics for the different people that I want to be talking about with, and also then, of course, scheduling those calls. But first of all, just being comfortable enough to get out there, ask those people to be on that show that I'm planning here and that I want to be making with them, the exploration of the podcast, and also the kinds of questions, the kind of conversations that I want to be having with them is something that I'm currently struggling with and working with and trying to wrap my head around. But it is definitely something that I am very, very interested in to continue and also to somehow work toward in the coming month. Then I have the newsletter, and this is something that I've been kind of lagging on because in January I actually published 0 newsletters. Then in February I published the one that I was supposed to be sending in January. And now I'm one behind again because I haven't sent the end of February newsletter yet. It's a little bit of a harder thing because it's, again, in that whole realm of producing more videos, doing client work and all those things, having the focus on that. I sometimes have a hard time focusing my time on writing this newsletter and also bringing something that I haven't covered anywhere else before, but having this to kind of like be a collection of thoughts that kind of goes a little bit deeper and more overviewing is something that I'm still working on, and also having that ability to connect with people on that rather than having everybody on YouTube or Instagram or those kind of platforms is still very valuable in my belief. Now we are talking about Instagram and YouTube growth in subscribers and followers. On Instagram specifically, my goal is to have 50,000 people following my Instagram account by the end of 2020. And for YouTube, it's 100,000. For Instagram, in February, I closed with 16,259 people, which means I lost 29 people compared to the month before. This is actually a very interesting development because in the past, I actually have been declining steadily with sometimes more than 60 people per month going down. Now in January, I lost 47 subscribers, and now this month only 29, which is a reduction in the losing of followers, which in my book means that there are actually also more people starting to follow my account. And this is specifically interesting because in early February or end of January, early February, I actually started to post daily content on my feed again, which is really something that I enjoy doing because it gives me a chance to actually look through other material, old material, and also stay creative and make new content on the go as well. It's a bit of a challenge to come up with captions and content for every single day. It's something that I'm not necessarily natural at this moment in time. I'm someone who focuses on the quality or wants certain kinds of quality and also achieving something in a way. However, I feel like this is actually a great opportunity to kind of ramp that up again because I actually ended that daily posting schedule toward the middle end of the month. Now I'm going back to the daily, maybe 4 times a week or a semi-daily schedule with Instagram. I think that this is actually something that will help me grow again, that will help also build a connection, build the following, build the interaction with those people on there. So that's something that I'm also trying to work toward again. With YouTube, it's completely different. On YouTube, I have been steadily gaining followers for the last few months. However, I've never gained as many followers as in February, which was completely out of the blue and totally crazy. At the end of January, I had 919 subscribers to this YouTube channel, which was already something that kind of got me really excited because it is the magical 1,000 subscriber number, which also opens the possibility of monetization. And now in February, or with the end of February, I actually already hit hit that goal, which I didn't expect to hit until a couple of months from now. So in January, I almost gained 107 subscribers to the channel, which means that right now we're at 1,026 subscribers, which also means that the monetization actually started to begin processing last week at Thursday or Friday, and now it is actually already gone through. So monetization is now active on this channel, and I am having this opportunity and chance to start working toward earning more money with this YouTube channel, which in turn also gives me more freedom to create better content for the channel, to take more time to actually invest into the content production on this channel, which is something that I really want to be doing, which is something that I really strive for and am excited about. I didn't really expect that this would happen this soon. I actually thought that this milestone with the 1,000 subscribers would take me a couple more months to achieve. So having this just within 1 month and 100 plus new people on this channel, I welcome you. So it's really exciting to start more of the creating these videos for an audience that's not just watching these videos, but with that, I'm actually also able to substitute certain types of income in my business. And that is something that is super, super exciting. And I definitely look forward to seeing those first numbers go in. This is also that's interesting along the lines of the next goal, which is that I wanted to have consulting packages ready by the end of February 2020. And I have actually not made any progress on this regard, which is basically because I put almost all my focus on the creation of these videos, as well as a couple of smaller software projects that kind of like sprung up out of the blue for myself, but were really exciting at the time. Not having this updated consulting package website, I am not entirely sure what I want to do with this. It is something that I have been holding up against a long time. I wanted to update these multiple times over the couple of years. Now, at this point in time, maybe I just need to reduce whatever is on the page, make it a little clearer what I'm offering, what I can help people with, and then just publish that site and make it accessible for people. There were these thoughts of making a video for the page, having more on there, giving people more of an understanding of what could be done and what other things I can help them with. But overall, it may just be time to either scrap it or make it really, really simple for myself on this goal to actually have any kind of movement there. And another goal in terms of publishing things is that I want to be publishing 24 classes on Skillshare by the end of 2020. And in February, again, I published 0 classes at this point. The reasoning, again, I am still trying to get foot into the scheduling and also publishing route of Instagram and YouTube, and making these videos 3 times per week with the podcast and everything. It is not the easiest task. However, now with the first experience around YouTube video making in a bulk setting, where I made 3, 4, 5 videos in one day, that really is something that's going to change my ability to also produce these classes for Skillshare, knowing that I myself can do all these things, produce these 3 videos on YouTube at the same time as I'm also doing client work and also doing the Skillshare classes, is something that is really a tough challenge for me. However, it is something that I'm growing into. I currently don't have any team whatsoever, so everything that you see on the channel or on any other platform is done by me with my own hands, with my own time. So that is something that I'm still learning and also still adjusting with, but it's something that is definitely going to get there. And I'm really excited to see what March will bring, because the development has already gone great ways. The next one on this list is that I want to be reading 12 books over the course of the 12 months in 2020. Right now I have finished 0 books, including the ones in January. I have finished 0 books. So it's something that is a little bit of a tricky one. Again, I'm more focused on the production than on the consumption of new content. I have learned a lot through certain videos that I've watched throughout the last month, but reading books oftentimes for me, it brings new ideas and interesting thoughts and stuff like that. Sometimes right now I feel like I just need to produce. I don't need more information, more tips, more tricks on doing certain things. I need to actually do certain things. And at this point in time, I haven't really found a book that focuses on that. I oftentimes just get more and more ideas of like how you project manage, how should be done this, how much you should invest, where you should invest, how you should think about certain things. All of those things are very, very active tasks to add more to the list of things to do. And that is something that I'm definitely working against, because right now I don't need more to do. I need to actually produce. I actually need to make more instead of consume more and get more information. So that is something that I'm quite happy with, that it's not moving forward that much. It's just something that I need to pick up at some point when it is time again. The next one is that I want to be attending at least 2 live events of some sort this year. I have not made any progress there. A couple of thoughts about festivals to visit and trips to make, but at this time and place, there's nothing concrete in this category. The next one is about checking in with people and building relationships, and also just caring for the relationship that are already in place. Overall, I would say I have done a couple of mini hikes this month, which was great with family as well as my partner. Those are really interesting, really fun talking times, as well as just time in nature. So that is something that I want to be doing more of. At the same time, I also want to work more. So it can be a little tricky to get all of that under one kind of like umbrella. So that is something that I'm kind of like trying to finagle together. The other thing that is interesting about this in the last month is that I actually started programming a certain people database. So I built this database for myself based on an article by Derek Sivers that we all should have a certain kind of database for the people in our life. And that actually makes it much more helpful or much more useful information so that we can reconnect with people or also find the people that are, for example, applying to certain tags. So this database that I created for myself is able to hold tags for every person that I connect with. I can have a description as well as activities and also reminders when I want to contact those kind of people again. And this is something that I'm now starting to slowly grow into, to starting to use this database to fill it up with data about people that I have known, when we have met, when we have connected last, to kind of like be able to really build a database of the people in my life so that I can reconnect with people, that I can be more helpful for them, also to be more helpful to everyone else by possibly connecting others with others. So that can be a really interesting, helpful part of this database as well. So this kind of like building relationships and also keeping relationships going, increasing the number of connections that I want to be having with those people, that is something that I'm still working on. And this software is probably something that's also going to help me with that. And potentially at some point, I'm also going to make this an available service online. But at this stage, it's just a very personal, private database for myself, and nobody really can use it other than that. Now we have the last 2 categories in my goals report, which are that I want to be regularly making 10,000 euros or more per month, and also having a net worth of 100,000 or more by the end of 2020. These are really moonshot goals, and I want to mention again why they are the last on my list, and that is because I believe that taking care of everything above this will actually in some way contribute to these goals happening. But I want to have them here to have something to kind of like expand my mind and really think about what it would mean for me to reach those goals, to make those numbers a reality, because it's not something that is very normal in the day-to-day life. It's not something that is very normal in the people that are around me and also in the family that I have. So having these on this list is something that's incredibly powerful to keep working toward, to keep striving towards something. More specifically, talking about these 2 goals, the $10,000 per month goal, it's something that is rather slow at this time. I am making more money. I actually sent out a couple of invoices in February and I got invoices paid in February. So that's great progress, and you will see that in the budget report as well. However, it is about just 1/10, maybe 20% of what I want to be doing on a monthly basis in the future. However, I believe that the change with the YouTube monetization will be greatly impacting this category because it's a completely new and different way of making money. It's something where I can earn money with the videos that I filmed a couple of years ago, and that is something that is completely different from everything that I have done right now or that I am doing right now, where it's very much focused on the time that I spend on certain client work, on the people that I work with, and those kind of project-based things as a freelancer. So this is something that I believe will have a hugely important impact on this category. Additionally, the Skillshare things as well, because I am also seeing the income from my one Skillshare class that I already have, which is not that much. However, I still believe that adding to that category will make a huge difference also in this goal of earning regular income. However, I also want to stress that even if I just make 3,000 a month, this will have a huge impact on the life quality, at least in my belief set. I do realize that many people say like happiness is not coming from money and those kind of things. However, I do believe that with a certain base income, you can actually feel more secure in yourself. And with that, I believe that I could be more open about ideas, be more open about projects and different kinds of things that I would like to be doing, rather than trying to just stick to these little bubbles that I can already handle. I feel like more income can open up that much more. With that, it could open up more projects, more opportunities, more travel, and also more possibilities of connecting with others, because even that costs money. But with the current situation at this point, I am kind of willing to invest in gear for some reason, but I'm not necessarily as easygoing about travel and also about the expenditure of usual life expenses. So this is something that I'm currently adjusting, learning, and moving towards throughout. I'm not sure yet, but it's something that is really interesting, and I'm really interested to see how it all goes on throughout the months that are going ahead. And last but not least, I have the $100,000 of net worth and savings goal in my goals report here. And the changes here aren't really necessarily that significant. I am moving more money into my Trade Republic ETF portfolio, and the development in that portfolio was really, really incredible throughout the month of February, right around the last week of February, which was a kind of like a almost crash of the stock market. And it was really interesting to kind of like see that change where the bar went up. And I saw from December, where I started with Trade Republic to invest with those ETFs, I saw a really good increase of 14% since I bought all of that. And now this is really interesting because it was just about almost $160, $200 of change from the time I invested to what it was the highest point. And then within 7 days, it all went down and to a negative 110 euros, which is quite impressive to live through, because seeing the growth first was something that was, of course, really alleviating. It was incredibly powerful and nice to see, like, yes, I want to put more money into this because it is growing so nicely. And now with the negative 100, it really has to actually start going up again before I see any positive impact. However, this is, of course, a long-term investing strategy. It's not something very short-term oriented. So I am kind of okay with this change. And interestingly enough, I'm not necessarily that worried about the 100 euros that I lost throughout that process at this point, because it's not lost yet. I actually am quite happy in a way, because now with the 2nd of March, I'm actually investing again. So I'm now putting money into it with a lesser price than it was when I first invested, or throughout the last couple of months that I invested. So I'm kind of buying the same stocks at a discount, which is really a good thing. And I do believe that most of these indices, or pretty much all of these indices, are going to go up in the long term, which means 5, 10, 20 years from now, they're all going to have the steady growth of around 7 to 12% per year, which is something that I'm shooting for with these indices, with that stock investing portfolio, with the ETFs that I'm currently saving toward. But it for sure was interesting to see something go from 180 in gains to minus 110 just within a matter of days. That was definitely a very schooling experience. So with the goals report through, I want to touch back on this topic that I mentioned in the beginning of that, where all these goals are not being reached: the reading, the running, the exercise, as well as the meditation. There is something to be said that right now my focus in this business is really on expanding and growing it all over, making more videos and also creating the content and also the client work. So these things are really the main focus. Of course, I have heard about the fact that meditating, exercise, and those kind of things are going to help with more productivity. And I'm definitely somehow working toward that. However, I'm really not that stressed that it didn't work out the couple of months right now. It is wintertime. There's a whole lot of going on in terms of having a more secluded internal feeling of just being with my thoughts, just being with my own productions, creations, and those kind of things. With spring coming around the corner, it feels like I want to go out more. I want to be outside more, maybe do more exercise, those kind of things. It's not to say that those things could have or should have happened the last 2 months already, but it is somewhat taking the edge off and making it less serious for myself. And that, I think, is something that is very important. It's also something that this check-in really shows me. It really shows me how much importance am I giving those topics? How much would I like to give those topics? Do I really want to expand on that? Do I really want to do these things at all? And that is something that checking in with myself has given me the opportunity to see these thoughts come by and also decide whether or not I want to keep those things on my goals report or not. Right now, I'm currently using the bullet journal technique for habit tracking, as well as mood, sleep, and those kind of things, and also my to-do list and those kind of things. Everything is kind of tracked in this bullet journal, which is really helpful to have a very hands-on experience. I oftentimes had the experience with digital habit tracking, and it's really easy to not really care too much. With this, I literally create my own habit tracking, and I make it so that I feel like I want to check in with myself. I want to take that into my hands and spend time with it, look at what is going on, how am I progressing on my list of things that I want to be achieving, I want to be doing and doing on a regular basis. So it's definitely something that has helped me to get more of an understanding of what is going on there. And with the coming month of March, and with the experience that I just had with producing multiple videos in a day, this really has given me better understanding of what I can do, what is possible, and also then makes free time for the other things that are also important to see if that can all have a little bit of a snowball effect going down the hill, having more energy throughout all of the other things as well, and also bringing back exercise, bringing back meditation, and with that making that snowball even bigger and also faster and all overall just more substantial. So like I said, the focus right now was on creating these videos and also having it so that I have a enjoyable work experience throughout the process. And with that in place, I think that that continues to grow the whole habit stack of what I want to be doing, what I can do, and how I want to be doing those things. And with all of those things, I really am excited about the next month and see how all of that is going to shift everything and just look into that bright future. And with all of that said, this is becoming a really long video, but it's also my budget report. So let's go onto the screen. I'm going to show you how January compares to February and also how February in general just works in itself. So as you can see on the screen, I put in the data onto the sheet that I'm also going to link in the description of this video, that you can check it out for yourself and maybe even start tracking your budget with the same techniques. I, of course, have added the data for February into this sheet, but I am still not tracking the transactions in this sheet. I have my own private sheet for that. I just don't feel that comfortable sharing everything that publicly. So let's jump into this. First of all, I don't have any income in the AdSense category as well as the affiliate category. The AdSense stuff is probably going to change in March or April, depending on when the YouTube's going to start paying out money and also how much I'm going to earn, because this is something that I'm still going to understand and learn about with the YouTube monetization now being active and seeing what kind of click-through ratios and click per thousand or cost per thousand and those kind of things I'm getting. So that's something that I'm going to look forward to adding numbers into this in the future and coming months. Then we have the affiliate income. There, usually the income is all accumulated over a certain period of time and then paid out at some point. I think for March, I already got a little bit of a payout. However, that did not happen at the end of February, but it happened at the start of March. So this is something that we are going to see in the next month's report. You can see that the freelancing, I actually had a couple of invoices paid in this category, and that's something that is really good because that means that I actually made a little bit of money here. As we're going down, you will see that I'm still heavily investing and probably investing more than I am earning. Then going further, MISC income is just 65 euros. And then we have income from Skillshare, which is 15 euros and 68 cents. And again, this is something that I'm trying to increase in the coming month in creating new classes for Skillshare, mainly about podcasting, but also about blogging, as well as Alfred, the productivity tool that I like so much. Of course, you can see a comparison between January here and February here. You can see that some months are better than others. Sometimes more people watch the classes on Skillshare, sometimes they don't. This is something that is kind of unpredictable, but overall it should grow as soon as I start adding more classes to this category. And with that, we have 1,845 euros in earnings. If I take away taxes, which is approximately 461 euros, I'm left with 1,384 euros. And that's the number that's going down to the last line to kind of like compare the income and expenses in this month. Now going down here, we already see that these don't change much. I have the retirement as well as portfolio payments that I'm making here, which is basically savings in the realm of 315 euros in this month. And then we have the category of business expenses, which this month again was pretty high, which is basically because of the business equipment category down here. So going through the top from here, we have 1Password, which is a password manager, and I do it on a yearly basis. So that's why it's probably going to be in March. Then we have Adobe Creative Cloud, which now costs money again because I got a little bit of a deal for the last couple of months to have a couple months for free, which was really helpful because overall having Creative Cloud is awesome and it's an amazing platform and application, but the 68 or 70 euros every month is also quite steep. And so I'm really happy that I was able to get a little bit of a deal there. Then we have the category of Apple and iCloud purchases, and right here I actually purchased the Filmic Pro Filmmaker kit for the log profiles and those kind of things. So that's something that I have kind of tried out and played with, and I may make a video about in the future. Then we have Artlist.io. This is actually now not really Artlist.io anymore, but instead I have to rename this to also include audio.com. Because basically what I've done here is the audio.com website is something similar to Artlist. It's a music library that I have purchased so that I can add music to my videos and podcast productions, as well as client work projects and those kind of things. These audios are actually royalty free, and Audio just launched their service with a lifetime subscription, and that's what I purchased here. I initially planned to have Artlist again in September, but I stopped the renewal on this one, and I'm now going to start using the audio library, and that one just cost me this money once instead of having this money every single year, and I'm going to look forward to using this for a couple of years, and that's going to be really interesting what they're going to add to the library and how that's going to fare in the production of whatever I'm doing here. Next category, we have Audible. Right now I have still 3 credits there, so I'm not necessarily needing new credits, but I can only pause the subscription for 3 months at a time, and then there is 1 payment to be made. And so I just pause it again, which means that the next 2 months is also going to be paused, and then it's probably going to cost again. And depending on what I do with those credits, I may or may not actually listen to a next book soon or no. I don't know that yet, but overall Audible has been a really good service over the last few years, so that's really exciting. Bank fees are bank fees, as you know, and just as the usual. Then we have my business equipment investing. In this category, as you can see, last month I already invested heavily. This month I invested heavily again. This time around I actually got a Atomos Ninja 5 recorder with an external hard drive. This is basically a HDMI recorder for my camera, and it gives me the opportunity to actually record for much longer than I would be able to do with the internal camera, which only records for about 30 minutes at a time. And it also gives me the opportunity to record in ProRes, which is much easier to work with on my computer. Overall, I'm really happy with this investment for this studio work that I'm doing, as well as the podcasts that are coming up, where I want to have conversations with people for longer than 30 minutes without having the interruptions of the camera shutting off or something like that. So I'm going to make a video about the Atomos Ninja 5 in the future. That's definitely coming to the channel. You can stay tuned for that. And this is, of course, a heavy investment into the company with almost 830 euros, but it's something that I was willing to do for the ease of working with it. I do kind of hope that I can take it a little slower in this category, because I have made these many investments in these 2 months right now already in 2020, but I am pretty sure that there are a couple of things coming up in the coming months. One example that I have is that I'm probably going to invest into the Canon EOS R5 once it comes out. Right now it is kind of like rumored that it's going to be June or July. I also want to invest in the 15 to 35 millimeter lens, and all of this will make more sense once I know better what I'm doing after August, where I'm planning to have more trips in the autumn time and winter time again to actually go out more and be more active. But right now I'm focused on the production side of things. So that is going to be my focus. And then in June, July, the heavy investing again. I'm just very, very interested to see how my income will compare to those investments. But sometimes you just have to make investments in your business rather than wait and just do whatever you can to save as much money as possible. Of course, it would be great to put that money into my portfolio or those things. But right now, I feel like the investing into my own company is worth much more than putting it into a 10% per year portfolio, because in the company, I may make, instead of 20,000 in 1 year, I may make 40 or 60 or 80,000 a year, and that is a much better investment. Then going down the list, we have DigitalOcean, which is my server. Then we have domain names, which were renewed and cost me 29 euros this month. Then we have the Google Apps for Work as well as YouTube Premium. And then we have a IHK for Upper Franconia. This is kind of like a business association thing that I am forced to be paying. Actually, I don't necessarily appreciate that, but 45 euros per year is the fee for small business owners. Then we have MISC business expenses, where there were none. Then we have my mobile phone contract, which accidentally went over the limit in terms of the bandwidth or the traffic that I used. So that was more expensive than usual. Then we have NordVPN, which is paid for the next 3 years. This one, the Scalaway, is my Tor server that I'm providing for everyone to use in that Tor network. Then we have Transistor.fm, which I'm paying for, which is my hosting provider for the podcast. Then we have electricity, rent, and the Rundfunkbeitrag, which is just an annoying fee for public radio stations and TV stations in Germany. And those are just the usual as per normal. Lastly, we have the category of personal regular expenses, which are my health insurance and similar things. The monthly one is the health insurance, and that's just 275 euros every single month. Then we have Grundeinkommen. I made a podcast episode about this topic actually in February, where I talked about why I do believe in this and why I am actually supporting this cause with a small donation every single month, because I believe that this experiment actually widens the knowledge about the 1,000 euros per month in a great way. And this is something that definitely supports that. And I try to kind of like learn more about it as well as support the research, so to say. And with that also have the potential of winning one of those Grundeinkommen for 1 year, the UBI or Universal Basic Income experiment for 1 year, which would be really, really interesting to document that journey and make something out of that. Lastly, we have food and movie and events. And as you can see in this category, I didn't really spend that much on my monthly living with food and similar things. This is something that I have deals with family and my partner with, where I help them with my skill set, and in turn, they take care of more of these monthly living expenses in terms of food and similar things. So this is something that is kind of out of the ordinary, but at the same time, it is something that I believe is really powerful and helpful to help each other in the ways that you can in any given moment. And even with all those numbers, you can see that I still spend much more than I earned. Looking at it, I have 2,348 in spending and 1,384 in earnings after taxes. So this is something that you can see. I have a minus of 964 euros in this month and a total minus of this year of minus 2,731 euros. Now, looking at the charts down here, you can see that my net income was much higher than in January, which is already a really good sign. The net income versus expenses is much lower than it was in January, where I had 1,767 in the difference between income and expenses, but it is still going down in general. So I have huge expenses. I am making the sum over year go down significantly and those things. But again, this is coming back to the investing category, where I am right now investing into the gear, the equipment that I'm using to make these videos. I am heavily invested in making more content rather than looking for the next client that may be able to pay more bills in this moment, but not in the long term. And this is something where I'm super excited about this whole opportunity with the things like YouTube and Skillshare to build into this income portfolio, so to say. now looking at the whole goals report in a general feel with the budget report as well as the goals report, it's pretty clear that there is significant movement. I'm really happy with everything that is moving. And of course, I would love to see the income category grow, and I'm going to see the income category grow, just like you are going to see that on this goals report. And I'm really looking forward to see how all of this is going to develop in March, how I'm going to make adjustments based on this, which is probably going to be in many categories. And I'm really, really excited to then share all of that with you out there. For the end of this one, I again want to thank everyone who watches these videos, likes them, comments them, and subscribe to my channel. Without you, it wouldn't be possible to make these videos, to also have even the chance or the outlook in terms of making any substantial income from these videos and the creations that I put out there. If you want to learn more about what I do here, you can check out more videos on this channel about different tutorials about the EOS R, my podcast, as well as just lifestyle videos, thoughts, ideas, and everything in between. I really love to share these videos, make these videos, and also increase the quality of the videos and the information that I can give you. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave those in the comment section down below, and I make sure to answer as many of them as possible. And other than that, I just can tell you, go out there and make your own thing, make your own life happen. Check in with yourself, how you're progressing on whatever you want to be achieving. How are you kind of like valuing yourself? How are you working toward the things that you're wanting to do? How are you not doing that? Because only if you look at it, only if you kind of like check in with yourself, see what you are doing, what you're not doing, you may be able to see there's a discrepancy between where you want to be and where you want to go. And knowing that in the long term will make a huge difference and help you grow toward who you want to be and become in that long term. This whole process definitely does that for me. I see way clearer where I'm going, where I'm headed, and what I'm not doing. And with that, I can now take action to potentially change that and make it differently. So all of that said, I hope you have an amazing day. Make it even better, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.